Hi, I'm Alistair Gordon, registered clinical counselor and director of Wellspring Counselling, Inc., as well as an adjunct professor of counseling psychology at UBC. In this video, I will teach you about managing anger and aggression. Anger is essential for survival. It arouses motivation for action when our needs are jeopardized or thwarted. It is how anger is expressed that determines whether the behavior is adaptive or maladaptive. So, anger is the emotional experience, and the behavior of anger can either be constructive, helpful, or destructive, unhelpful. In other words, adaptive or maladaptive. The problems that people experience relating to anger are: 1, being chronically angry without any external trigger. This may be because of misperceiving what's actually going on in reality in the present. Often, past experiences stuck in emotional memory are triggered by present stimuli, things that are happening right now. The second issue is how anger is expressed, whether it is constructive or destructive, adaptive or maladaptive. The goals of anger management are to reduce activation of the sympathetic nervous system, in other words, stress, to bring clear thinking back online so that you can perceive what's going on more accurately, and then implementing specific strategies to help gain perspective so that you can take a more measured approach to manage your anger in a more constructive way. I will describe some anger management strategies that clients have found to be the most effective. It is important to do this with a competent and licensed or registered mental health professional, and it's best to practice this experientially as a role play so that procedural and other implicit memory systems are activated. Think of it like rehearsal or training in a sport. You need to simulate the scenario or situation and factors of the actual situation so that your mind and body remember this learning and the type of memory systems that happen outside of your conscious awareness. This is implicit memory. Some of the steps are done at the same time in reality, but for the purpose of initial learning, these will be ordered in a sequential way. The precise sequence that will be most effective for you when you're actually doing it depends on the degree of impact that each particular step has on you individually. This is one of the reasons why it is helpful to have a mental health professional guiding you with this. The more practice you get with these strategies in an experiential manner, the better you'll be able to apply these when it counts in the actual situation. Let's begin. The steps are: number 1, assess if you are in immediate danger. What do you see happening right now in the present moment? What is the actual loss that occurred on your family, health, food, shelter, or freedom, for example? Is there any danger anymore or not? Assess this for 5 or 10 seconds. It takes about this long for what you are perceiving to start sinking in, to start registering in emotional understanding. Number 2, be aware of what is most important and meaningful to you in your life, and imagine experiences, interactive experiences with your greatest priorities and values in life. This imaginative interaction helps with activating the emotional experience of what you're trying to imagine. For example, I think of my son and my wife and the life I want to spend with them, traveling, watching my son grow and flourish, making the world better through psychotherapy, and enjoying life. Number 3, wait 30 seconds before responding. If you need to respond at all, stall as long as possible before taking any action, because with each passing second, the more capacity you will have for control. The impulse for immediate action subsides as the seconds pass, and the more perspective you will automatically get with each passing moment. Number 4, while you are waiting 30 seconds, take a deep breath in to help give you the inner resources to exert your will to refrain from the urge to act impulsively and aggressively. Remind yourself that this will be really difficult. It may be grueling because you're refraining from very intense primal impulses. Slowly let your breath out, because prolonging your exhales brings your heart rate and stress levels down. It decreases the activation of the sympathetic nervous system. Continue slowly and rhythmically breathing in and out while taking your time exhaling, because this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings your heart rate down and brings your stress down as well. Number 5, increase the distance from the trigger of what is making you angry. Get as much physical space or proximity as possible from the stressor, from what is making you angry. This is because the closer you physically are to the stressor, the more intense the impulse will be for aggression or to act impulsively. So this means that the more distance you have from what is making you angry, the less intense the impulse will be for acting aggressively. Number 6, see the situation in a bird's eye view of the timeline of your whole life. Imagine looking down, in your mind's eye, imagine looking down at the timeline of your whole life and see where this situation fits into it by comparing it with the most important events or experiences in your life. It could be marriage, your children, great times with friends, travel, etc. You can even compare it with other challenging experiences to gain perspective as to the current situation's relative importance or unimportance. Also, visualize your priorities that you identified in a previous step in the timeline of your life. Imagine seeing from a bird's eye view where you are in space and time, in the city, in the country, on Earth, even in the galaxy and universe. And compare it with what just happened, what you're experiencing, what's making you angry. Number 7, what are your options to deal with the situation? Sometimes we reject certain options because we feel the situation is unjust, so we want to fight against it, even if there's a simple option to sidestep or handle the problem or what is making us angry. Number 8, what are the consequences 20 years from now? In the moment of experiencing anger, long-term considerations are usually absent. So it can be helpful to think about what the long-term consequences are, especially on the things that are most important to you, those priorities in life that you identified earlier. Number 9, imagine a calm or safe place and visualize it in your mind's eye. Linger on it for about 20 seconds so your mind, implicit memory, starts to absorb it and in turn causes your heart rate and stress levels to decrease. This allows the thinking part of your brain that also is responsible for willpower to come back online, giving you more control over your impulses. Number 10, feel, think, and behave in a way that you would want your loved one or loved ones to in the same situation. This will help you to have actions that are directed toward what will keep you safe, healthy, and being socially appropriate in the long term. Number 11, and the final step, compensate for the stress and the willpower that you used because it is a limited psychophysiological resource. By, for example, having a hot bath, getting warm tea or coffee for yourself, watching a movie, anything that will help you to rejuvenate. Well, I hope these strategies serve you well in your effort to manage your anger in a way that is adaptive and constructive for you in the context of your whole life. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please like and subscribe to this channel to learn more practical ways to improve your mind and your life. Thank you.